For more, let's bring in Tennessee Congressman and House Oversight Committee member Tim Burchett from the great state of Tennessee. Welcome, Congressman.
Thank you, brother.
So let's start with President Trump on the economy, and I'll get you to react to him.
Our nation is strong, and America is back, bigger and better, stronger, better than ever before.
What are you hearing from constituents in the great state of Tennessee about our economy?
I think frustration with Congress overall. I've been in Congress 8 years under Democrat and Republican rule, and it's really a failure of Congress to act. President Trump has put forth some brave initiatives through his executive order, and the reason he does the executive order because he knows Congress is basically gutless, and he has to do it. He has to lead the way. I would encourage my colleagues to get off their collective rear ends on both sides of the aisle and let's fix some of these problems. And part of the problem was under the Biden administration, just the unchecked spending on all these crazy woke programs, creating their wokeotopia, I guess, all over the world. And it was a complete failure, except for making some, I would suspect, some members and their families very wealthy.
From Politico, Trump's own voters begin blaming him for affordability crisis. Democrats are planning to make the economy the main issue in the midterm election. How much work do you and your colleagues have to convince voters to keep you in the majority?
Well, the best friend the Democrat Party really has is the Republican Party and their messaging. We stink. You know, I'll put stuff out on my X account at Tim Burchett, and I'll get several 100,000 views, and I'll talk to other members about how to do just that. And they, you know, it's like we're trying to convince people that still have 8-track tape players into doing something. That's how the Democrats generally, you know, they put the wood to us on that stuff. We're not very good at it. I think we're doing some great things. We just got to get it out. And an interoffice memo is not the way to do it.
To Obamacare, the clock is running without action from Congress. Millions of Americans will face insurance premium spikes without some sort of deal. What's your take on that?
It's a creation of the Democrats. They put this drop dead date in, and they do this every time. They want it always to end either near a holiday or near election year, so we have to jump. I would suggest that we offer an alternative. My friend Gary Palmer out of Alabama, I think they play football down there, I'm not sure. But he has a bill down there, House Bill 1776, that could go a long way. Let's look at capitalism. I've often said, outside of Christianity, the one thing that's taken more people out of despair is capitalism. Let's take that thing out for a ride for a little bit. This socialized medicine, this thing that's programmed to fail. When Bernie over in the Senate chairs the committee, when the Democrats under their reign of terror, he would not let any bill get in there that would help fix it or tighten it up. I think it's doomed to fail. They want to go under the European model, which we know is a failure because the wealthy people over there, what do when they get sick? They come to America to get the health care. We've got the best doctors. Let's kick I always say let's kick the money changers out of the temple, which is the insurance companies. They're making billions of dollars profit. Under Trump's under the big beautiful bill, we had some things in there that tightened all that up, cut the waste, abuse, and fraud out. Their stock numbers plummeted, and so what do? They jacked the prices up on the consumers. We need to cut them out. Let's put the patients and the doctors in the room together and let them make the decisions. That's what needs to happen. And we got to get some guts. And currently, right now, neither party has the guts to move anything forward. Speaker Johnson has said that he wants to put something forward before Christmas. And I look forward to seeing that. That's what real leaders do. And President Trump has been leading the way in this.
Is failure an option on this issue because you consider the entire House of Representatives is on the ballot in November?
Failure is always what one side wants to push against the others to point it at it. I'm not worried about all that. I would just like to see it fixed for my kids, fixed for your kids, and fixed for future generations. And again, let's get the insurance companies out of the mix. Their billion-dollar profits right now are out of control. And you see the Democrats who are pushing it in the Senate, who are a thorn in the president's side. Look at their campaign coffers. Who contributes the millions of dollars? It's the insurance companies.
Well, we will follow it. Obviously, the clock is running, needing a deal by the end of the year. And obviously, we have the Christmas holiday between now and then. Congressman Tim Burchett of the great state of Tennessee, it's great to see you. Have a beautiful weekend.
Hey, I hope you have a very politically incorrect Merry Christmas, brother.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.